We grow up believing that family is everything, that no matter what happens in life, our children will be there for us, just as we were there for them. And when we get older, it seems only natural to want to live near them, to stay connected, to share in their lives, to have the security of knowing they're close by. But what if that decision, made with the best of intentions, ends up causing more harm than good? It's not something we like to think about. After all, who wouldn't want to be close to their children? It feels safe, it feels comforting. But what most people don't consider is the long-term consequences of blurring the line between closeness and dependency. Moving close to your children in old age can start out as a loving gesture, but over time, it can lead to unspoken expectations, silent resentment, and a gradual loss of independence, not just for you, but for them too. Instead of asking, how can I stay near my kids? Maybe the better question is, how can I live in a way that makes both me and them happiest? Because at the end of the day, the best relationships aren't built on guilt, obligation, or proximity. They're built on mutual respect, independence, and a desire to be together, not a duty to do so. Let's talk about why taking a step back might actually be the best thing you can do for your relationship with your children. At first, moving closer to your children feels like a safety net. You tell yourself, it's just in case I need help. I won't be a burden. You believe that you'll maintain your independence, that you'll just be nearby. But here's the hard truth. That safety net can quickly become a tangled web of unspoken expectations. Expectations that no one talks about, but everyone feels. What begins as occasional help, a ride to the doctor, a favor with errands, can quietly turn into daily dependency. And the problem isn't just the reliance itself, it's the weight it places on your children's shoulders. They may never say it out loud, but inside they start feeling the pressure. Their time no longer belongs to just them. They begin adjusting their schedules, making choices based on what they think you need. Even if they love you, even if they never complain, the reality is there. Your presence adds another layer of responsibility to their already full lives. And that responsibility, it can lead to something no parent ever wants to cause: resentment. Your children have their own struggles. They're managing careers, marriages, parenting, bills, and the constant demands of modern life. When you add another level of obligation, even unintentionally, it doesn't straighten your bond, it strains it. And on your side, you might not even realize it's happening. You might just feel like they don't visit as much, or that they seem distant, distracted. But what's really happening is this: they're stretched too thin, and they don't know how to tell you. A strong, independent life isn't just about you, it's a gift to them. It allows them to be your children, not your caretakers. It gives them the freedom to visit because they want to, not because they feel like they have to. That distinction makes all the difference. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? We assume that the closer we are to someone physically, the closer we'll be emotionally. But that's not always true. Think about it. Some of the best relationships in your life are the ones where you feel excited to see someone, where time together feels intentional. But when you're always around, when there's no space between visits, that excitement can fade. When you live too close, visits can turn into routine. They can feel like obligations rather than moments to cherish. There's no anticipation, no sense of, I miss you. It's just another part of the daily landscape. And what happens when you're too involved? You start noticing things. The way they parent, the way they handle money, the way they manage their household. And without meaning to, you might start commenting, offering advice, stepping into a role they didn't ask for. And suddenly, What was meant to be a loving closeness becomes a source of tension. But when there's a little distance, that tension disappears. You become a guest in their lives instead of a daily presence that's simply expected. They call because they miss you. They visit because they want to, not because they feel guilty. A little space doesn't mean loving less, it means appreciating more. It's so easy to fall into the trap of making your children the center of your world. After all, they were for so many years. But here's the hard truth. Your children cannot be your only source of joy. They love you, but they also need to live their own lives. If your happiness is dependent on how often they visit, how much they call, how involved they are, then what happens when life pulls them in other directions? What happens when they get busy, when they move again, when their careers demand more of their time? If your sense of purpose is tied to them, every missed visit, every late return call will start to feel like a personal slight. But it's not personal, it's just life. That's why it's so important to have a life of your own, to have hobbies, friendships, activities that bring you joy, whether they call or not. Because when you do, something amazing happens. You become a joy to be around. Your kids want to visit, not because they feel like they should, but because you're fun, engaging, full of life. The best way to keep your children close isn't to follow them. It's to show them how to live fully, no matter where you are. Your children love you, but they cannot be your entire support system. That's too much for any one person to carry. That's why finding your own community is so important. A place where you feel connected, where you have friendships, where your life is full, independent of your kids. Maybe it's a retirement community full of people who share your interests. Maybe it's a small town where you feel at home. Maybe it's a new city with a fresh start. Whatever it is, it should be your choice. One that makes you feel alive, engaged, excited about your days. Because the happiest people, they aren't the ones who see their kids every single day. They're the ones who have something of their own that makes life worth living. And the best part, when your life is full, your kids will want to be part of it. At the end of the day, loving your children doesn't mean living next door. It means living well. It means giving them the freedom to love you without obligation. It means prioritizing your own joy so that when you see them, you're sharing happiness, not waiting for them to bring it. It means finding fulfillment beyond family, so your world feels rich and full, whether they're there or not. So instead of asking, how can I stay close? Ask yourself, how can I live my best life and let love follow? Because when you live well, your children will always want to be near you, no matter how many miles separate you.